Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the Cats and Bolts podcast. 3, 2, 1.
He scared me. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cats and Bolts podcast, episode number 27. That's producer Ben, by the way. That's not some European rocker from the 70s, even though he sounds great doing it. Welcome to Florida's most watched hockey podcast. It's Cats and Bolts coming to you live from the Podcast Junkie studio. Live to us, not to you. I'm Rod Peterson with co-host Sarina Taylor, and we're here to talk NHL hockey with a Florida twist. How are you, Sarina?
Deaf now.
Because of him or me.
You and Ben and everybody. And for the record, that was Ben, here in person having it happen, not some recorded stuff.
Are you ready to talk some hockey for the next 2 hours? Okay. Well, we are brought to you by our great friends at DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of the National Football League. The crown is yours. This is the official sports betting partner of the Cats and Bolts podcast as well. Also brought to you by Beach House Pompano and Baresco. And by the way, do you have the date in your phone? Is it April 7th that the cops from Broward County Sheriff's Office are going to be serving people? It's a Sunday, April the 7th at Beach House Pompano because we were just there on the weekend. Thank you, Thad, for treating us so well. It's the official bar and restaurant of the Cats and Bolts podcast.
It's Sunday, April 7th. We have a reservation at noon. So if anybody wants to join us, we'll be there.
That would be fantastic. It's a watch party. Watch Sarina eat at the Beach House Pompano, and it is the Broward County Sheriff's Office are going to be serving you all the officers, so it's going to be fantastic. Okay, we are here to talk hockey, and we got a lot of topics to get to. The playoff pairings have changed. By the way, there's a lot of talk in the arena and around the NHL about that the playoff format should change. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about Ovi. Viewer questions. Write that down, Ben. It's another viewer takeover. That's the title of this week's show, Viewer Takeover. Our friends have written us with questions, viewers of it. We have a very special guest coming up here in studio next week. But Sarina, I just want to say this. On the overreaction episode, nobody really got in our grill about it. And the only real reaction I had was from the Twitter account, What the Kachuk, she's very funny. And she said to me, how can you stay so positive? And I'm like, well, you're just getting to know me, but that's me. Positivity is the way. And the Panthers snapped a 4-game losing streak with a 4-1 win at Philly on Sunday. And the night before, it was a shootout loss at New York. I mean, I felt they were overreacting. Are the Panthers back?
I don't think they went anywhere to say they're back. Mm-hmm. I mean, they lost 4 in a row. Big deal. Yes, it's a little bit more stressful because it's right before the playoffs, but I don't think that indicates what type of a team they are. Yeah, I don't think they went anywhere. Nothing to worry about.
Well, I'm trying to remember. You weren't at the game here last Thursday when Nashville was here, and I think it was 4-0 they lost. Yeah, because they've been shut out 2 of their prior 3, and people were very upset. They played terribly. Now, we need to look ahead, but we kind of do talk about the week that was. They played really bad. But you know what, Sarina? It's hard to keep the pedal to the metal over 82 games. I don't care who you are. You're not going to win them all.
You can't. And what game was that they lost in a shootout against the Rangers?
Yes.
And Paul Maurice was like, but I'm happy with the 60 minutes we played. We don't play 3-on-3 in overtime, whatever. Yes, you have to look at the bright spots for sure. But a loss is a loss. And if he's happy with the way they played in the first 60 minutes of that game, great, because he shouldn't be happy with the way they've been playing in the first 60 minutes of the last 2 months. I've been saying this every week. I really think that the Panthers are not playing at the level that they should be playing at if they want to compete in the playoffs.
But he knows that.
Well, that's probably why he said, I'm happy with the 6, because he's not wrong. You know, like we've watched a lot of hockey games where the team that outplayed the other one miserably still lost. Yeah. And it's just kind of the way it goes sometimes.
But just I did enjoy this reaction from the fan base because they're like, Rod, it's just a South Florida thing. Dolphins fans are damaged emotionally, and it carries over to the Panthers fans, and they see a few losses, and they think the whole season's going down the tubes. Because what did we talk about? We were up in Tampa when they got thrashed by the Panthers 9-2, and nobody was upset leaving the rink. Like the difference in the two markets. Now, they've won 3 Stanley Cups versus here they've won none. Anyways, I'm ready to move on other than to say teams go through lapses, and I think the Panthers are out of theirs. I think they should be happy. The fans should be happy. I think they're out of it. They won't lose 4 in a row again. If they do, then we can worry.
If they do, they do. It depends on the time of the season. Listen, you lose 4 in a row in the playoffs, obviously you're cooked.
Yeah.
But if you're losing 4 games in a row at the start of the season, it doesn't seem like it's anything to be worried about because you're still getting your legs underneath you. But at the end of the day, all those points add up.
Mm-hmm. Changing topics to number 2. We were talking last week about the playoff pairings and how Doug McLean had it right. The Panthers were going to play the Leafs. He called it in December. Then, boingo, as we sit here today, it's Panthers Lightning in round 1. Do you think that'll happen?
I don't know. Might.
Well, we're going to get to how the standings are shifting, but I just, you're a medium. Do you see it happen?
I don't know. Psychic.
Whether it's round 1 or 2, I think we'd like to see it happen.
Oh, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
That would be an outstanding series. Outstanding. There's going to be a lot of good playoff series in the first round. That one would be a doozy.
Well,
I don't think, let me clarify. I don't think that would be the best series out of all of them. It wouldn't be the hardest skating. It wouldn't be the most finesse series. But living where we live here in South Florida, I think that would be one that people should be crapping their pants over if they end up having to play Tampa.
Anybody that has to play Tampa should be worried.
Well, and that's the funny thing. I forget who we were watching the other night picking their picks, and I think it might have been on the NHL Network, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'd rather play a wild card team. I don't think Tampa's going to go very far. I'm like, have you not been watching the last 10 years? I would never want to play Tampa. Just like Vegas. If they squeak in the playoffs, I wouldn't want to play them in the first round.
Well, there's a real lesson to be learned here, in like the Lightning have won every series against the Panthers. Have they not? But maybe it's now the Panthers' time. And today we're not going to solve it. It just, as of today, they would play in the playoffs, and I agree with you, it would be a hell of a series. But I want to move on to another thing. Topic change to number 3. Format change to the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is coming up in the press boxes here. I'm seeing it online. To be honest, Bill Lindsay's brought it up here, did he not? He goes, we need to go back to a 1 versus 8. He said it on the NHL Network. That's where it was. He goes, we need to go to the 1 versus 8 because of the matchups versus the current wild card. And my thing is, whoa. They changed it, Sarina, for a reason when they changed it. Was it not to create the better rivalries and play within your division? Was that not the idea?
I honestly don't know. I don't know why they changed it, but if you look at the way the format is right now, the top 3 teams of each division get in, which I've never been a believer of. If you're not going to play the majority of your games against teams in your own division, why should that be a fair assessment? So the other day, Philly was in the playoffs with 77 points, and Tampa was in a wild card with 82. They have more points. And if you're not going to play the teams in your division more than the other teams, why should it matter who's the top 3 in the division and teams with more points should be left out? It doesn't make sense to me.
And I know that this is kind of deep hockey talk, but these are the kind of decisions that are made and discussed at the board level in the National Hockey League and at those owners' meetings. And I believe that they went to this by division playoff to create rivalries, and the teams were playing 8-9 times in the regular season. But the problem is the Oilers and Flames ruined it by brawling on Hockey Night in Canada in the 8th game of the season series. So they've cut it back to now 3 games. The Oilers always ruin everything.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what I was thinking too. Exactly, word for word what I was thinking.
She never thinks that.
I'm so glad the Oilers and Flames only play 3 times and the Lightning and the Panthers only play 3 times. Like, it makes no sense to me. And I know you agree with that.
I'm obviously trying to get your goat, and I think it worked.
He'll never know.
They tried to beef up these rivalries by meeting 8-9 times in the regular season. Do you see my point? But it didn't matter here. But in Alberta, there was blood in the streets and brawls and suspensions, and George Perez had to fly in from New York and personally, like a kindergarten teacher, sit there and watch the 2 teams. So they scrapped that and went back to 3 games.
Which is stupid. Again, put it back in your division. Why even have divisions if you're not playing each other more often? What is the point?
Do you feel, though, like at these league meetings, they didn't sit back and nobody asked that question? They should have, but nobody did.
I don't know. But let me say this. If I'm the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, Who do I want to play the most? The teams that are closest. It's cheaper for travel. That's why they always did it before.
And
it's
ticket sales.
Ticket sales. It's less travel on the players themselves. They're not going, the Panthers are like, oh, we got to go to San Jose, LA, Anaheim, come back to Columbus, then we get to come home, and then we come back to our time zone for 1 minute, then we go to New York, then we go, come on.
So do you think for that reason they won't change the format? Because I've heard it both ways, that they're going to have to go back to 1 versus 8, and I've heard for the reasons she just said, they won't. What do you think will happen? What do you think they should do?
I think they should go back to having divisions. Again, what is the point? I don't even know who the hell is in the Metropolitan Division because it doesn't matter.
No.
What's the point of having divisions if you're not going to play the teams more than you play other teams?
You're going to have a problem there, Sarina, though. If the top 5 teams in the Atlantic have a better record than the top 3 in... This is why they went to the wild card in the first place.
I understand. But look at Major League Baseball. The American League East has always habitually been one of the toughest divisions. They didn't get pussied into changing the playoff format because they got bullied because of X, Y, and Z. You have the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, all of those teams in one division, and nobody says boo about it. They don't get bullied. The commissioner of baseball does not get bullied like the commissioner of the National Hockey League. And he wimps out and he's, I better change something when it doesn't need to be changed. Why? Again, why have divisions? Either have divisions or don't. And if you're going to go 1 to 8, great. But if Edmonton plays Calgary 3 times and they play LA 3 times, they're not in the same. Who cares? What's the difference? What's the friggin' difference?
That's the thing. When they switched the schedule to 3 times per year rival, they never thought about the playoffs, is the sense. That's what I'm saying.
Probably,
That's what I'm saying. So I'm ready to move on. This stuff kind of gives me a headache. However, I know the fans love talking about it. That's what the reaction that I'm getting. So I'm just going with it. What?
Before we move on, though, here's what a lot of people here don't really realize. They don't realize how the old playoff format used to be. It used to be, the Smythe division. You had to get out of your division. You had to do all those things because you played those teams more often. That's the way it used to be, and it worked. But there was a lot of strong teams, but you still have to beat your division. So if you got to get out of the Smythe division, as the Edmonton Oilers back in the day, what's the difference if right now, Vancouver could play Vegas in the first round? Who cares if you're 1st or 8th? You still have to win the first round.
Yeah. That's what I know.
Okay.
I know. And the odd thing is that these guys making these decisions are far older than you and me. I'm like, guys, can you not figure this out? It worked then. And the interesting thing was there were 16 teams in the playoffs then and 21 teams in the league. Now there's 16 teams in the playoffs and 32 teams in the league.
And
right? So
they're trying to add more friggin' teams. Before you know it, we're going to have 24 teams in the playoffs, and the playoffs will be going until July. Like, this is ridiculous.
Okay. Moving on. I want the NHL in Atlanta, though. If somebody has to move there, so be it. But I want the NHL in Atlanta.
Why?
Because it's close. And my radio show airs there, as you know. So, Point 4 is simply, I said the playoff pairings have changed. So these are what they are today. Boston, Toronto. And you don't like to make predictions, so I won't ask you that. But I feel like Boston. You're a big fan of Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
A believer in Boston. Maybe not a fan.
I think Boston would win that
They
series.
would steamroll Toronto, wouldn't they? And wouldn't that be funny?
I don't know about steamroll. Boston's had its moments this year where they choke in games that they probably shouldn't.
Yeah. The others are Rangers, Capitals, and Hurricanes, Flyers. And I'm not going to, we're not going to spend any more time on this because it's going to change. But I will put this to Point 5. You need to understand something, people. As you can tell by the Oilers code, and if you follow our social media, I put a photo of her and Wayne Gretzky up the other day. That's her Mecca guy, Wayne Gretzky. Alex Ovechkin's caught fire. He's scored 8 goals the last 4 games, and he's hot on his, I think he's like 48 behind now.
Something like that.
He's we just talked about how he was mailing it in here a couple weeks ago. He didn't care. All of a sudden, he's scoring 2 goals a game. I'm wondering, and I wonder if you have an opinion on what's changed. Why does he care all of a sudden?
I have no idea, but you can tell that the fact that he is putting the puck in the net, it's because he wants to. He's that good that he wants to put the puck in the net. Listen, I'll say this. I'll say a couple things here. It will be criminal. The hockey gods will not let it happen. I firmly believe that. He can't break that record. This guy has been sandbagging this entire year. It would be absolutely criminal if he did. And second, Wayne knew when to hang it up. Wayne knew when he wasn't as productive and he said, I'm not as productive. I'm not helping my team. He still had like a whole bunch of assists compared to goals that he had in his last year. Like it was like 4 or 5 times the amount, 6 maybe, amount of assists that he had goals. But Wayne would never do that. He has class, and he would never phone it in like Ovechkin is. Terrible.
Yeah. When Wayne hung it up, he already had all the records. So now Ovi's chasing it. I guess something changed. He cares now. And by the way, I don't want to see the goal record go down, but how many other records does Gretzky own? You know the number,
He
right?
had, at one point, he held or shared 62 records.
NHL records.
Yeah.
That's
I think a
NHL records,
couple.
not Oilers records. He's getting far more Oilers records.
Yeah, it's insane.
Okay, before we go to the viewer takeover, viewer questions, because they're always so much fun, and they're good as always. Just want to tell you that we are brought to you by DraftKings, introducing the No Sweat Bet. For new customers, it's up to $1,000. Get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original wager if your first bet doesn't hit. Use the promo code THPN, that stands for the Hockey Podcast Network, of which we're a member. THPN, promo code at DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. And also the Beach House, Pompano. Hi, Thad, and your wonderful gang there at Beach House. It's a scenic rooftop restaurant on the shores of Pompano Beach. It's our second home. They treat us better than everybody else. And on April the 7th, officers from the Broward County Sheriff's Office will be serving your table. April 7th, call ahead, make a reservation, and we'll see you there. Watch party. Watch us eat. And right across the street is Boresco. We always give a gift card to our guests on the Cats and Bolts podcast from Beach House and Boresco. Boresco is a tropical outpost serving only the freshest tacos and lush jungle vibes, located at 225 North Pompano Beach Boulevard. Okay, to Unidecker, Sarina writes in and says, will Sam Reinhardt net 51 this week? He scored 2 on Sunday in Philly to get to 50, and quite a celebration for him. He said afterwards he never, ever thought he would score 50 goals. There's no reason to think he won't hit 51 this week. You have thoughts on Sam Reinhardt? Let the folks know.
He'll probably hit 51 by the time this podcast airs. I mean, realistically, he will. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't. Do I think he's a typical 50-goal scorer? No. I don't even think that his 50 goals, like he getting 2 goals the other night, more than contributed to his team. But I could probably count on one hand how many times Sam Reinhardt's goals made a difference in a Panthers win or not.
Oh, they did the other night.
That's what I just said, but you weren't listening.
No, I was daydreaming.
Literally, I could tell.
Well, this is where I think we agree on Sam Reinhardt is if I'm Bill Zito, this is what I'm saying. Because his contract's up and he wants to get paid. He's making $6.5 million. You and I talked about this on the couch the other day. Sam, go out there and see what's available, but we're going to pay you no more than $6.5 million per season. And I don't even know how many years you'd give Sam.
Somebody's probably going to sign him for 6 to 8 years, just like that seems to be the going thing now. He's young enough that he could sign an 8-year contract, but I wouldn't lock up a lot of money into a guy like that. I don't see, if the Panthers do sign him, I don't see it being another 8 years. If he goes somewhere else, it'll probably be a little bit more, but I don't think he's a $8 million guy.
That's why I say you're at 6.5 now. We're prepared to offer you that on your next deal. So go out and have a look around. Why not? If you can get more, good for you. But this is what we're prepared to pay you. And the other thing, players look at this. It's why Matthew Tkachuk's here. I saw a photo the other day of a bunch of Panthers players. I think it was at the Miami Open because they're playing it at the Dolphin Stadium, Hard Rock Stadium. Look how close this team is. Look how great this place is. You're not supposed to apparently factor in the lack of state income tax when you're signing a contract in the NHL. That's what I hear from the agents. But that's got to factor into your decision, doesn't it?
How could it not?
Yeah.
It's going to factor into your decision. The weather here, all that kind of stuff. The fact that there's no pressure to play here. There's a lot of guys, like a guy like Sam Reinhardt, if he goes somewhere, let's say he goes to a Canadian team. Sam Reinhardt could probably handle the pressure on a Canadian team. He's from there. He played junior there. It's a little different. But there are a lot of guys, speaking of Tkachuk, they can't handle that pressure. Tkachuk was a completely different player in Calgary than he was here. You just, people thrive in different environments and they got to go where they're happy. I wouldn't blame Reinhardt for going and looking around. This is a business. And while it's a business from the ownership standpoint, it's also a business from the player standpoint. These players are contracted players. It's their right to choose what they want to do and where they want to go. And nobody should judge them for that anywhere.
I'm certainly not, but he's in the perfect situation here, which has led to him scoring 50, right? He's with great players.
Sure, yeah.
He's happy. So how big of a rush would you be in to leave? Matthew Tkachuk wasn't happy in Calgary, and he told them that. Johnny Gaudreau wasn't happy in Calgary. It happens all the time. How happy are you here? Maybe these are the conversations they're having. I don't know.
It's different. Think about it, though. It's different styles of players. It's different types of players. Tkachuk wasn't happy. Gaudreau wasn't happy. It can't be fun playing in the cold up there, playing in Calgary, whatever. They're not from there. They're American-born players. It's really not their thing. But you certainly don't see the McDavids and the Dreisaitl's and the Elias Petterssons and the Austin Matthews had an opportunity to leave Toronto. He didn't. What's the difference? You have guys that don't piss and moan about where they're playing, and you have guys that do.
Yep.
It's their prerogative.
I was shocked that Austin Matthews signed in Toronto. I wouldn't want to play there.
Well,
but, they made him the highest paid player in the NHL per season. So.
Here's the thing about Austin Matthews. He doesn't have the pressure on him because as long as John Tavares is there, Austin Matthews doesn't have a hope in hell of being the captain there. And he's probably fine with that. They're going to name a local kid over an American-born player, the captain of the Maple Leafs, every single day of the week. That's what I would do. Matthews has got to be happy. Things are going well for him there, and I agree with you. I'm shocked he didn't leave, but he probably likes it there because, you never see a lot of drama surrounding Austin Matthews. No. You never see anything like that. He's just a stand-up guy that says, forget it, I just want to play hockey, and he's happy.
To the next point, question is from the account Florida Panthers Fan Den. He's the guy that's got the mini arena in his basement with all the figurines, not dolls, figurines. His wife calls them dolls. We don't, men don't. And he's got like 200 Panthers jerseys in his basement. He goes, could you two sign an 8x10 for the Fan Den? Can you believe that?
I get he wants a picture of me. It's a little bit more believable.
Oh, yeah. My mind just went several places. I can't say
it. That it probably shouldn't.
That it shouldn't have said. Yeah.
Jeez, what is wrong with this place?
So
even Ben's taking pictures.
Yeah,
right
Ben.
now.
Hey, awkward.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I'll be the one in charge of it because I'm the one in charge of everything. The signed 8x10 for the Fan Den will make it happen. Oh, that's the photo that you just took. We'll sign it. Ben just took it. Don't worry, we'll handle it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Florida Panthers Fan Den. It's on the way.
When you're the talent of the show, you don't have to do all this background crap. You just show up and you talk and you give your opinion and everybody wants to hear it and you move on.
Okay, what are we talking about next, Sarina?
I don't know. You're running the show because I'm the talent.
Okay, Ben Cobbs. You know Benny. He's a regular viewer of this show. Good guy. We had a photo of he introduced himself in the concourse of a hockey Panthers game here recently. He says, how are you two doing? I think we're doing fine.
Doing great.
Yeah. He says, are you excited to see the new rink, the Baptist Health Iceplex? I'm actually excited to see it. I am. I want to see the whole facility. And I'll be honest with you. The Panthers have, on multiple occasions, invited me, not her, me, out to go watch it or see it. So I think what would be good is if we took a camera and maybe did a little tour around and aired it on this show at the Baptist Health Iceplex. Cool. As far as rinks go, I've been to several openings. It looks like a hockey rink. There's nothing real descriptive about it. You've seen photos of it, right?
Yeah, I saw some photos about it. I think this is the one that they've been talking about has been opening for like 3 years.
I know.
When it actually opens, let us know. But I think it would be cool if we went and checked it out.
Yeah, the souvenir store looks epic. It looks like one of the biggest souvenir stores I've seen in the National Hockey League, period. So I haven't made it there yet. But maybe we'll make a big deal of it being the Cats and Bolts podcast live from the Baptist Health Iceplex. That would be cool. So thank you, Ben, for the question. Thanks for watching, as always. Josh writes in with the next question, and he says, How many goals would Vladimir Tarasenko score over 82 games with the Panthers? Want to take a swing at that one?
30 to 35.
That's not bad.
He's not bad.
He scored 40 in St. Louis about almost 10 years ago. So he's done it. I go back to the Reinhardt thing. I looked at the thing here today. Tarasenko's played 8 games. He's got 3 goals here, I believe, and 5 points, I think. I'd have to look it up for sure. I'm just saying he's getting up there in age. His average goals per season are 25 to 30, but he's playing with better players here.
I was just going to say, it depends on who he plays with.
Yeah.
Put him with Barkov, yeah, there's probably a chance he's going to get some goals, but who knows?
What's funny, well, Jeff, our hotelier friend, didn't get a question from you, Jeff, yet. It's too late for this week's episode, but he has asked me, how's Tarasenko look down there? Did I say this on the show? Because I know I said it on my other show. I said it's like you want your first date. You're sitting up straight. You're not burping. You're not farting. You're on your best behavior. He's back checking. He's working really hard, right? How long does that last? That has historically not been him. But for now, he looks great.
Well, to be totally honest, it's not a move I would have made in the first place because of things like that. Tarasenko is such an inconsistent player.
That's the point.
Right. But I think he's capable of getting 30 goals again. Why not?
Oh, and I never answered that question. I want to say he could score 40, but I'm the positive guy. I think the best can come out. Well, you're a coach. Could you see him scoring 40, or is he too old and too inconsistent?
No. He's not too old.
Yeah, he could do it.
Oh, yeah. Age is not a thing anymore.
and they said that Tarasenko's got a house here. I've seen he's got his 2 little boys he brings to the games. He seems very happy, and that does mean a lot when you go to work, period. So I'd like to see him score 40. But you know what? A lot will depend on this playoff, man, whether they re-sign him or not.
Yeah, it's going to totally depend. I would not be surprised if they did not re-sign him, just for a wide variety of reasons, salary cap related. Probably depends on what they do with Sam Reinhardt, with all that kind of stuff, because, definitely makes a big difference.
Shout out to the Lightning fans that watch us every week. We love you. Thank you. And by the way, if the Panthers and Lightning played in the playoffs, I see no reason why we wouldn't go to every single game there and here. Well, me anyways.
Bye.
Load up the RV.
Yeah.
I don't have an RV yet. BW is a Lightning fan who says, who does Tampa Bay have in their system that you can see in their lineup the next couple of years? And to be honest, my first thought was, I don't know. I'm not a scout. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Let's go back to Estero. Let's walk it back. We were there. That's why you need to go to these rookie tournaments and watch the rookies. Remember who the best player was?
I'm trying to remember his name.
You do.
I do.
Goche.
Yeah. Yes, Goche.
Ethan Goche.
Yeah.
And, of course, I'm literally scrambling to look him up. Got to be Denny Goche's kid, played in the NHL, born in Scottsdale. Like a growing list of good players. Matthew Tkachuk, Tage Thompson, Austin Matthews. I'm just saying. That's where he was born. He's been playing junior in Canada. But Ethan Goche is...
He is a good
seems ready
one.
right now.
But here's the thing. So these kids... They're born to NHL parents, whatever. So like the Tkachuk kids being from Scottsdale, well, they were a product of their environment, right? They were born there, and it makes perfect sense. But the best ones always go play in the Western Hockey League. There is a reason. There's a statue outside that rink in Dallas of Mike Modano because he played his junior hockey in Saskatchewan. He was not a pussy. Go up there, play your hockey. Don't play this college crap unless you absolutely have to. It is not going to perfect your skills. Look at Jacob Chikrin. His dad got that kid right into Canada as soon as he could. He played he played minor hockey here, whatever it's called here. Youth hockey. Went up to Canada, boom, because he knew that's where you develop your skills. Don't mess around with this crap here.
Well, what's interesting, too, by the way, is... if you watch the show, I think this is why this is Florida's most watched hockey show, is because you're getting the goods. And I saw a thing on TSN the other night. They said, we need to sort out if Jacob Chikrin wants to stay in Ottawa or not. And I'm like, well, if you watch the Cats and Bolts podcast, you would know he does. Because his dad was here. And his grandfather sat on that couch right there, John. And they eat pierogies together and play the guitar in Ottawa. He doesn't want to leave. I'm like, why does TSN not know this and we do?
They don't have the ins.
Yeah, they don't have the ins.
They do, of course. But when you told me what he said, I nearly fell off the couch. Rod's like, did you hear what Jacob Chikrin said about wanting to stay in Ottawa? No, because he gets to spend every weekend with his grandparents and eat pierogies.
And my grandpa goes to every game.
And his grandpa sat here and said, we asked him, how many games do you go to? He goes, about 41. I mean, he goes to every game. Why would you not? There's another kid that just is happy in his environment. Who cares that it's cold? Who cares that it's whatever? This guy spent years in Arizona and would rather play in Ottawa.
Isn't that something? And by the way, Ottawa is cold, but it ain't Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg cold.
No.
It's not. You think it is? You people from Ontario?
Yeah, I was going to say, they think it is.
You've never felt it like it. We're getting to the end. Brent from Wellington, Florida sent me the clinching scenarios for the Florida Panthers this week. And I'm seeing a lot of people talking about this needs to happen. As a matter of fact, next week's guest has been popping off on Twitter about the Panthers clinching and the scenarios. And I'm like, I literally don't care about that stuff. And if allow me for a second, I'm interested to get yours. If you went to the Stanley Cup final and all year long, the following, and you didn't win, and all people are talking about is winning it, what does clinching the playoff berth really mean? I view it this way. If you're going down to Key West, do you stop and celebrate at the 111 mile marker? You expect to do it. I don't see any celebration whatsoever in why people are going so nuts about clinching. As a matter of fact, it used to be you get a playoff bonus if you made the playoffs. You don't even get that anymore. You only get a playoff bonus if you win a round in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So to me, I don't care when the Panthers are going to clinch because you know they're going to clinch. All the good teams are going to clinch. It's like this show when we started it. Yeah, we started it as a hobby. We wanted to have something fun to do. But I also expected it would be Florida's most watched hockey show, which interestingly enough, our Canadian friends are like, ooh, most watched Florida hockey show? We're like, yeah. People in Florida know. That's not saying a lot. There's not a lot of Florida hockey shows. Sorry to say, Ben. But I just knew it was going to be great. So, you know what I mean? To me, clinching scenarios are not worthy of popping. It's like the baseball I don't understand at all.
Okay.
But that's different.
That was what my point was going to be about baseball. Baseball's different.
It's hard to do, right?
It's harder to clinch. You have to get essentially first place in your division. Let's say it all together now. Division.
Which I get the pennant I get.
Right. So, but in hockey, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Like it's clinching. Who cares? I don't remember the last time I looked. There's like a little X and a little Y. You clinch the thing and you clinch your division if you get the Y. Dude, who gives a shit? You have to win. Like I said, I don't want to be first in the West at Vancouver and play Vegas. Who cares if Vancouver clinches first? Who cares? I wouldn't, it doesn't matter. You still have to beat some good teams.
Clinching first, I'll give you, that's a big deal. You get a banner. That's, to me, more important than the President's Trophy, because the President's Trophy, to me, is a jinx. But to clinch a playoff berth, like in baseball, with all the wild card teams now, who doesn't clinch a playoff berth?
A lot of teams.
No, I'm being somewhat sarcastic. I'm just saying I get the goggles and the champagne and plastic up all around the clubhouse for first, but not a wild card playoff spot.
I don't know too many teams in baseball that really, really celebrate, because a lot of times the wild card comes down to the last day, and then they got to play the next day.
But a lot do.
I guess, but yeah, I just don't view hockey clinching like I view baseball clinching.
Nor do I.
Or even football, for that matter. Football's important to clinch. It's not as many teams make the playoffs. Hockey, everybody makes the playoffs, essentially. Half the teams make the playoffs.
That's why I'm not as geeked up about it as some.
Again, go look back at when they played divisionally in the playoffs. Clinching first meant you were guaranteed your spot. If you clinched a spot in the playoffs, you weren't the bottom team and you were automatically out. So it was a different format.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last one is this. It's not even really a point other than to say, next week, our guest is... See if you recognize this. Hello, Panthers fans. My voice isn't even as deep as this guy's, and I'm a career in radio.
It's louder, though.
Andrew Imber will be in here next week, the public address announcer of the Florida Panthers. And I think we can reasonably say the voice of the Florida Panthers, because he is. He's very recognizable, and you knew him before I did. So this is pretty cool.
ironically, well, no, I think
Right around the same
you
time.
knew him, I think, through Twitter is what it was.
Through a mutual friend, yeah.
Yeah, we were watching, I think it was a Panthers playoff game, and they showed the outside of a restaurant. And he's like, hey, that's Andrew Imber. I was like, wait, which guy? So we like pause it, rewind it. And then I was running a rowing studio, and we were hiring for instructors, and Andrew applied. And I get his resume, and I'm like, hey, Rod, you'll never guess who applied for this. Turns out Andrew's like a freak athlete. He's incredibly talented in so many different ways and one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So we just became friends with Andrew immediately, and it's lasted to the rink and wherever else.
Wasn't he, what's the show, America's Ninja Warriors or something?
Yeah, I think he was trying out for American Ninja Warrior. I think he was, or he was going to or something. But yeah, Andrew's very fit, takes care of himself.
And
Just a good person.
Really nice guy. So he's going to be in here next week, so we'll be talking Panthers hockey with him. You know, it was a watch party, and by the way, I can't wait for those this year. I hope they're at the backyard in Fort Lauderdale again. Woo, are they? Did you go? Those were something. A lot of fun, man. So that's about it. Anything else? You say I never let you talk enough, so.
You put that on me. Well, it's only been...
I guess it's been 33 what are we
minutes.
at, Betty?
33 minutes.
There we are. Well, kind of over time anyway, so I think we covered it all.
Okay, we're done.
Thank you, everybody, for your questions and comments. As always, we love you people. Thank you for watching, because without you, we would have no reason to do this every week. We'll see you at the rink and next week here on the Cats and Bolts podcast.